What's going on, my PT peeps, my Walking Dead family, and my fighters? I'm One Eyebrow, also known as PT. You don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about The Walking Dead World Beyond Season 1, Episode 7, review, recap, breakdown. Obviously, spoiler warning for all things Walking Dead, but a lot of people are liking Season 1, Episode 7. I am. I like the series so far, so I definitely thought this was a great episode. It was a nice background story of Huck. We got to know her name, but it starts off with this thermal imaging. Reminds me a lot of Predator. Get to the chopper. But it's basically Jennifer, Huck, her real name Jennifer. She is dreaming and she's having a nightmare of the night when she took out a lot of her Marines because she was a Marine, and it was thermal, night vision, red, thermal, night vision, red. This guy, I didn't get his name, but he was definitely her partner, her Marine, her colleague, maybe boyfriend, I don't know. But red is everywhere. Yellow and red and green is in this episode a lot. But Huck wakes up. She went away. Remember a couple episodes ago, she went away to just go check things out. And she wakes up, bad dream, puts on her thigh holster, and really cleans her gun. What I think is interesting, like I said before, red is everywhere in this episode. Everywhere, right there. It's the towel. She's cleaning her gun. And I don't know if you believe in the red symbolism, but I do, and it's all over this episode. We see a watch right here that she takes. It reminds me a lot of Rick's watch. I know it's not the same, but it does, just the face and the look of it. She's checking the time. She's hiding from the walkers, checking out their migration. She finds a bunch of walkers and roadblocks, and she finds this group of walkers. Right here, this shot reminded me of Tara and Carol on top of the bridge when all the walkers were underneath. I'm going to have a whole separate Easter egg video. But she kills the walkers. She empties a bag. She finds some boots. I guess they're military boots. She finds a pin of the United States Marines. She's a Marine. She was a Marine. She's still a Marine. And we get to learn that in the episode. Also, there's a Mountain Dew sign. And you see that ice and cigs and prices on there, $7.13. That's pretty expensive. But Mountain Dew comes up twice in this episode. Huck's walking down the road, a back road. The truck, that is our group, comes up. Huck's like, whoa, what's that? Or who is that? So I guess it's right timing, right place, works out for them. Felix is hilarious. He's like, yeah, check out my sweet buzz cut. Or he says, I forget what he says, but it's pretty funny. I like Felix a lot. He's a great actor, Nico. Also, when they're bringing this stuff off the back of the truck, you see the red flashlight right there, but they have a lot of things. They have art books, they have supplies, they have a bunch of things that come up later in the episode. You see the red container behind Iris, also the red pole and red in the back. It's all over the place, red and yellow for sure. And red can symbolize danger and death and warning. You see the orange reddish chair where Tony is, maybe foreshadowing. You see the red Queen of Hearts, which I think is interesting. We're going to highlight that more down the road. But Tony is showing Elton some more magic, how to do the card trick, the floating matchstick, and it's cool. Huck finds a Mountain Dew that is Felix's favorite soda. I believe it's a paid product placement, or it's definitely product placement, and just the face there on Huck or Jennifer, but I guess Huck is like, wow, that's pretty bad. And you would assume that it may be a year or two that it expired into the zombie apocalypse, but that thing's got to be 8 to 10 years old. This was directed by Michael Cutlass. I believe the last episode was directed as well, and both episodes were very good. Then we find out about the map, and Tony is just worth his weight in gold right here. He's doing really good, and he's awesome, right? It's a shame what happens to him later on in the episode, but we learn about the overlays and what they show on the map. We find a regular Civic Republic map. And Tony just explains that he used a similar thing in one of his shows because he was a magician, and he used to do a similar thing, so he knew what to do. I talked about this in other breakdowns, so if you want to find out more about the breakdown, but I find it very interesting of the states that they're showing here and the different fuel caches on the map. Tony figures it out, shares with everybody, and they go later on to go find one of the fuel caches to fuel up and where to go. Right now, our group's like, where do we need to go? Somewhere in New York, but they're not sure. Tony, Huck, and Felix talk about where they're going to drop our group off. They're not sure where to go. If they're going to fly blind, they're going to fly blind. But Iris is like, wait a second, let me use these overlays on the piece of paper, the map that I have, and boom, it shows right there, the helix, the double helix, DNA, Ithaca, New York. Is it around Cornell University? I'm not sure, but that's where our group is going, and hopefully Dr. Bennett and maybe Dr. Belshaw are both there, and we'll see them later this season. Then we have another flashback. It was then and now, and if you don't believe the red symbolism, red shirt, red color all over the bar. And this is pretty far-fetched, but they show that Jennifer, I forget her last name. They were saying it in there. I just couldn't make it out. But she throws the dart blindfolded and hits the bullseye after there's already 2 darts in there. Pretty cool. And we can tell the then and now and the shorter hair, and she's in the Marines. And it's not the best in my opinion, but we're getting more of the backstory here. We find out that Huck's partner, colleague, Marine, I'm not sure what you call this guy. I don't know, boyfriend. We find out that something happened, that he had the scar, and all they need to know is that they looked out for each other and they had each other's back. And then, boom, the zombie apocalypse starts. Red on the screen, red on the beer sign, and then they transition from a good time drinking and partying, kind of like Top Gun style, to we got to go out and we got to take care of business. And they do. The kids are drinking, being teenagers. They decide to play Truth or Dare, and Silas is not feeling it at all. He kind of hates Percy. They move the chairs. There's red on the blanket there, red on the other blanket. You can't really tell in this photo, but they move the chairs around. Percy gives his gloves to Iris because he has a thing for Iris, and Iris's hands are cold. I guess Elton sees that, and he's like, I'm going to be chivalrous too. I'll take off my coat, and I'll give it to Hope, because I think Elton has a thing for Hope, right? And he gives the jacket to her, and she's like, no, I'm okay. So that I guess Elton's like, okay, I'll put it back on then. And so he does. And it's just a small little thing, but I thought it was interesting. Everyone gets drunk, I guess, for Silas. They're playing Truth or Dare. And of course, Percy's got to push the envelope. And he asks Hope, you see the red blanket that Hope is sitting on, what's the worst thing you've ever done? And we all know that the worst thing she's ever done is kill Elton's mom. I guess out of self-defense. But then Percy doesn't believe Hope because she says the thing about putting laxative in the coffee and, keeps pushing the envelope. And then Hope walks away. And then Elton comes out and he's like, he's definitely drunk. But he's like, no, everything, no. And he just hugs her. But if you can, guys, and you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. Helps achieve that goal of 100,000 subscribers. And a big shout out to my subscribers, patrons, and members. And Huck's by herself. She's on the roof. She's looking at the Marine pin. And she's thinking about her past. And probably the sequence of events. It was probably multiple days, I'm guessing. Stuff happened with her group. But you see Huck and the other Marines getting orders to go out and find civilians. They're going in the service tunnels, they're going underneath, and they're going to the city. And they have their orders, and they have to go do it. But they're there to go rescue people and take out any threats. And it's the start of the zombie apocalypse. And again, they don't know what to do. They're doing body shots, and then they finally figure out headshots are the ones that work. And I'm glad it's a quick sequence, and Huck says that to her group. And then the 2 Marines go down, and the other one and Huck go down the path. But what is interesting is Owens says, I heard it was from a rocket that came from space that crash landed and someone got sick from it and then they got on a plane. But it's basically saying that he heard about the space spores, which Robert Kirkman said, maybe in jest, maybe he recanted, maybe took away, maybe he was trolling, I don't know. But space spores right now are something that's going around as the start of the zombie apocalypse. We still don't know. I have theories about it in discussion videos, but I find it very interesting that they mentioned it here. They take down these 2 walkers and they find out they were people. And this, again, is the start of the zombie apocalypse for them. I love the whole idea using the thermal imaging, reminding me again a lot of Predator, and the cold body temperature and the people walking. You can see the difference. But red's everywhere. They find the civilians and they take them back, but they lock them up. And that's one part of the flashback. Hope and Huck are talking. Hope tells Huck that she killed Elton's mom. And there's a whole big sequence here. And then later on, when they go to find the fuel, why tell Elton? Is it for Hope or is it for Elton? Because it's probably better if Elton doesn't know. But is it? What do you think? Should Hope tell Elton? I mean, I think she's going to tell him, but do you think she should? And then they go to one of the fuel caches. And I don't know where this is, but to me it just looks like a stadium somewhere in Virginia because they film in Virginia. But our group is the 6 people here. Elton and Silas stay by the truck. Percy knows how to pick locks, and so does Felix. And then we see a flashback. Well, Hope and Huck walk down together. They separate. Huck has another flashback with her Marines and the new orders that they're there to kill everybody, hostile or not. And if they don't do it, they're going to be in trouble. But it's a nice blend of then and now and the current situation that Hope and Huck are in with Walter. And Walter was basically living there with his brother, and he thinks that they're from the Civic Republic because of the jackets and the logo on there. Felix and Tony are talking. They find the fuel and they talk about what they're going to do after they drop Felix's group where they need to be. They see the flammable signs. There's a new cabinet. The red signs there. There's a fire sign and flammable signs. So red everywhere again. Huck is still trying to defuse the situation with Walter. Walter lets Hope go. And basically we know that Walter is bit. And Huck tries to convince Walter to be like, look, I can save you. But he doesn't save him. I guess he does. But it's a nice blend of taking out civilians and taking out this guy, and taking out the orders and taking out Walter. And it's a good blend of then and now, then and now. And you see that Huck's a good person. She doesn't want to take out these people. She doesn't want to take out civilians. She's totally against the orders. And I think some of them are, but the Marines were ordered to do it and they're going to do it. Huck then takes out the generator with the lights and the lights go out. But then there's 6 Marines. And Huck takes them all out. There's like fire, 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 fire. She's just taking them all out. And the other Marines don't get a shot away or get away. So it's pretty far-fetched. I see what they're doing here, but it's a little far-fetched, pretty far-fetched. Then her friend, partner, maybe boyfriend comes behind her and he says, I don't know what you are, but I'm a Marine. And I guess he was just trying to do the orders. And then Huck takes him out. We don't see it. We see a flash. And at the same time, Huck took Walter out. That's a good shot of the watch. I'm telling you, to me, it reminds me a lot of Rick's watch. I know it's not the same, but it reminds me of it. But Huck, in the flashback, takes out all the Marines and Walter. We see this booklet. CRM's just got the logo, man. They're just putting it on everything. They put it on toilet paper, I guess, as well, too. But our group finds this little resort beach thing here. And the girls, Iris and Hope, are looking through the CRM booklet that Tony found, I guess, where the fuel was. And they make a joke because they can't decode it. Like, are these CRM lunch orders? And we don't know what it is, so hopefully it'll come back around and get decoded. Here's a good shot of yellow and red again for the women's restrooms. That'll come up later on in the episode. Tony tells everybody that after talking with Felix, they're going to stay. So Percy and Tony are definitely staying. And Silas doesn't like that. Percy is flirting with Iris. And he wants her to meet him at the truck in a little bit. You know, he's basically just wanting to get alone time with her. And Iris is like, well, no, I'll give you your gloves now. She's not really getting the hint, but they set up a time to meet at the truck in an hour. And it's pretty interesting because they cut to Silas and he's not really liking this. And it's clear throughout the episode that Silas does not like Percy and Iris flirting, and he's not like that Percy and Tony are sticking around. Then they kind of cut to the alcohol here. And later we see a bottle with Silas, so Silas was drinking. And then Elton goes to talk with Hope, and I guess he's flirting with her. And look at Huck right there in the shot. And if you look at the card placement, it's like boom, right there over Huck, right over her face. I'll talk about it more in my Easter egg video, but it's definitely symbolic. Hope gives Elton back his mom's manuscript. Elton sees that Huck is right there. I guess he's embarrassed and he walks away. Huck goes outside and she has a conversation with Hope, but you also see that she leads all the civilians that she saved away from out of the building and the service tunnels, and there's red lights all over the place. But the conversation with Hope and Huck is another interesting one because it's basically saying that, you know, Hope feels like a monster, feels like a terrible person. And Huck knows that Hope isn't, that she was a kid and she knows that she has a good heart. And I saw some similarities in Hope and Huck, and I know they're different, but I just saw the characters having a connection. We know that Huck cut herself and has the same scar as that guy, so she remembers what she did to her Marines and the civilians she saved. Then we see that Iris goes to the truck, and it's a whole setup of an art gallery. And I'm guessing Percy did this because when they were playing Truth or Dare, Iris said that she would want to go to the Louvre in Paris to see art. And it's kind of boring, but you're like, come on, right? But there's red all over these paintings and these photos that are from inside the books. And he put them up like it's an art gallery. And you can see when she opens the book, there's pictures that are cut out and kind of ruin the book. But she falls asleep and Percy never met her there. So we hear a crash, and I guess no one else heard the crash. But she wakes up. And you see the red flashlight there. Again, more warning, more death, and it happens in the next scenes. So she gets up, she goes inside to the women's bathroom where the red arrow was pointing. She looks over to the right, the window that's broken. You see red on the windowsill. She says, Percy. So I'm guessing we're to believe that Percy got away out of the window and broke the window. But there's blood on the windowsill there, so I guess he was injured. That, I'm guessing, is Tony's body, because that's what they say. The head is bashed in pretty good. We can't tell who it is. We see Silas's red wrench. We see a yellow blanket or jacket. I think it's a jacket. And then we see someone there in the stall. And interesting enough, it's not a red lantern. So is that telling? Is it black or green? But it's definitely not red. Felix goes to check out who's in the stall. Huck has her gun ready. They open the stall and it's Silas. You also see Silas with the bottle of alcohol. So he's been drinking and he's over there. We're made to believe that Silas killed Tony and maybe injured, maybe tried to kill Percy. And that's how the episode ends. So we got to watch next week to see what happens. And do you think Silas killed Tony? Let me know what you think. Hit that like button. It helps support the channel. And I enjoyed season 1, episode 7 of The Walking Dead World Beyond. Thank you guys. Stay safe and tell them, Daryl.